Julian is here.
Yes, Jamaica, welcome. Good morning to Duke Street. We're here live at the national opening of our parliament. My name is Andre Stevens.
And good morning, Jamaica. I am Peta Ferguson, and today we'll be bringing the energy to you live right here. It's one of our finest traditions in Jamaica. I mean, you will be hearing from our members of parliament, our senators, and most importantly, the people who they're here to represent and, you know, support. So you'll be hearing from us. Stay tuned for the vibe and don't go away.
Definitely the leader of the opposition, Sir Mark Golding. We'll be having an interview with him. It is going to be an epic showdown. You know, a lot of people are looking forward to the dresses,
yes,
the outfits by the parliamentarians, the hats, the fascinators. It is just pomp and pageantry right here today at Duke Street. And I can tell you, the ladies of the People's National Party will not disappoint. The supporters are here. Yes. They're here saying, we are march, and we have one supporter coming in. Pinky! Pinky, good morning, Pinky.
Good morning, Andre.
Happy New Year, Pinky.
Happy belated birthday to me. Friday was my birthday. I'm 67.
67.
And I follow the party from over 40 years now.
40 years as a comrade.
Yes, I work as a runner till now I'm a cluster manager.
So you're a cluster manager.
But if I didn't get good experiment with the People's National Party, I wouldn't dare so long.
So you're a proud comrade.
I'm a proud comrade standing tall.
And you're marching on to progress.
I am marching. All when them rob women and let me stay there, I stand up.
All right, Pinky. Come here, my father. Come here. You're an elder. Comrade July. Comrade July.
Yes.
How you do?
How you do?
I'm blessed and good.
You ready for the opening today?
Yes, I am. As it's one of the longest tradition from 1944.
Yes.
And it continues. And we have always been out here to support our party. And we do so with credit, distinction, and integrity.
Yes.
And we do so because we know that the Jamaica needs the People's National Party. Because it's the only party that have kept the kind of tradition, integrity in this part of the hemisphere, and it is the greatest political party in the Western Hemisphere. And because of that, is that we have to keep it relevant, and by so doing, the party has chosen some of the better minds and the young and creative mind. And if you should watch them in Parliament, listening and talking about issues that affect our nation, it tells us that the PAP is ready and just waiting to get in government. What has happened last night? You saw what happened in Barbados.
Barbados election.
And that is on its way. Let me tell you, there comes a time when the people is going to get frustrated of corruption. There comes a time when the people is tired of these people who will do the work and then get the procurement to follow behind it. These are the kind of people who have to deal with. One who will tell you that then we'll do it again. Doesn't matter how corrupt, evil and wicked, because wickedness they see as a way out. But guess what? There is an answer and an end to everything that is unrighteous. And
thank you, Comrade July. Well, Jamaica, I want to say this to you. We want to say congratulations to Prime Minister Mia Mottley for a clean sweep for a third term in Barbados. We're going to some interviews now. We're going to bring the chairman, the first female chairman of the People's National Party. Comrade Chairman.
Yes. How you do?
I am feeling wonderful.
Nice. And so congratulations on being returned as Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Andrew, Comrade Chair. Must first say that. I mean, what does it feel like knowing that from 2020 we're coming from 14 seats and this time around we're able to double those numbers under your leadership as Chairman of the People's National Party? What does that feel like today?
You know, I say to people all the time, 14 to 28 is not just doubling the numbers. I don't think people understand the pressure it is on the 14 in there with some hooligans trying to bully you down and trying to make you feel as if you have no voice. With 28 of us, there are 28 individuals who are strong, who are clear on why they are there, who has placed them there, and in whose service we speak. You know, and so when we go in there, it is just everybody, it is all one. we will find things to joke about, but we take things seriously, and we're going to make the points that we have to make.
Awesome, sir.
I know that you're very far in this parliament, and I'm sure for this parliamentary year, you'll be bringing even more fire. Tell Jamaica why you have that belly to take them on. Why?
You know, it's a simple thing. I grew up in West Kingston, and I'm serving Southwest St. Andrew.
Wow.
Many of the individuals there grew up just like I did.
Yes.
And I want to make sure, just like Portia Simpson-Miller did, that I give them proper representation.
Proper representation.
Yes.
Proper.
Without fear nor favor.
Without fear or favor. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank
You're
you
looking
so
really
much.
nice today. Really looking like a true comrade that you are.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
And shout out to Lady Premier.
Shout out to Lady Premier. Shout out to...
Okay.
Comrade.
Yes. And we have with us here today Member of Parliament Isaac Buchanan, one of the fresh kids on the block. We know he
The Prince
is,
of the East.
Yes, an attorney extraordinaire and one of our legal luminaries in Jamaica. Andre, over to you with Member of Parliament Isaac.
Mr. Buchanan, what it feels like being in the official first sitting of the new parliamentary year?
You know, the word is melancholy. I think that it is an experience that I am happy to be a part of. I call it political pageantry.
Yes.
So I'll see if it rises above that, because it's ceremonial, so it is performative politics, and I'm not going beyond the ceremony, but to be a part of it, excited to, you know, represent for the People's National Party under the leadership of the Honorable Mark Jefferson Golding. That is the highlight of today for me.
Yes.
And while we wait with a bated breath what the taxation is going to look like, I will reserve any comment where that is concerned, but to say that it's just a bad time to even contemplate that. So we want to get through that.
So you'll be carrying further action for East Portland. What should the people of East Portland look forward for this parliamentary year from you?
Well, Portland Eastern send me up here, you know, for collect my CDF money. So I'm finally going to get it, and you know, I said we bring in the heat. We do it through the private funding, but as well, whatever the government allocation is throughout the ministries and the CDF fund, we will be bringing the heat. That's health, education, agriculture, and tourism. Most important for me, and it's going to be a very interesting year for the entire Jamaica.
But don't make him move it, because we must take note of the suit. If you know anything, this suit is something, a style that our former comrade leader and the former Prime Minister of Jamaica, the most honorable Michael Manley. This is one of his style. And so I see you following in the fine tradition,
today,
you know, for former comrade leader, and you're looking dapper.
I'm paying homage to the most honorable Michael Manley.
Manley
is very significant, and so
yes.
when we do this ceremonial walk, we do it in his memory, because his contribution to social justice and just for the poor. We are for the poor. One of the P's in the People's National Party included the poor. So let us not forget, when it comes to human rights, when it comes to advocating for the least among us, I'm wearing this. And I'm styled by a premier gentleman. So I'm going to put that plug there, because let me tell you something. No one would have bring it, the recreation to life as was done by premier gentleman. So big up to me tailor.
Yes.
Our
blessings.
Blessings.
And
so we're heading over to the health spokesperson, the shadow spokesperson for health, Sir Alfred Dawes. Welcome, sir. Well tailored, well tucked, well groomed, well. Looking well for the people.
Why this man make it seem like me always disheveled and look homeless? I don't understand. Yes, sir. I bathed this morning.
Looking dapper.
I bathed this morning, yes.
You always been. The cold front never bother you.
Not at all.
So, Dr. Dawes.
We used to the cold water.
Okay. You are a first-time member of parliament, one of the new kids on the block, one of those who actually stir the pot and stir up a lot of conversations. I'm sure the people of Southeast St. Catherine are very proud of you to be here representing them. We see the waves that you've been making as opposition spokesperson on health, and we couldn't be more proud to have somebody like you steering that ship. How has it been so far?
Well, it has been an amazing journey. And yes, you would have seen what is happening nationally in terms of my, I guess we'd say, investigative reports.
Yes. But investigative reporting.
In Southeast, a lot has happened. We're transforming how we govern the constituency. The people have a voice. We just came out of our CDF consultations, and it is really the people who came out who are guiding us in terms of the projects based on their urgent and sustainable needs. We had a wonderful post-Melissa recovery in terms of the mitigation of the drains. We're preparing for the other hurricane or natural disaster that's coming. And we're big on beautifying the area, you know, and of course, spreading the love. Everybody's benefiting as much as possible. So that's how I want to define my term and the subsequent terms to come.
Well, is it a strategic action by the People's National Party to have you now being placed on the PAC when drilling is expecting to happen next week in Parliament?
Well, no, that's the PAC.
Yes, that
one.
PAC.
Well, you know, outside of the PAC and as you said, the drilling that's taking place. I have tabled some questions for the Honourable Minister, and I expect
the Honourable Minister,
right, to answer. And those questions, 9 of them are related to the findings of the AG report, as well as the complaints of the doctors at UA as to the governance issues that they're facing there.
Well, Dr. Dawes, we expect you to continue bringing the fire in the nation's parliament, and we look forward to great work from you, sir. All the best, sir.
Thanks for the support.
Right.
All right.
We're now going to the man who...
Look good to
The man looking very dapper.
Yes, so Jamaica, we are joined here by our opposition spokesperson on finance, the man himself who tear up the national debates in the election. I mean, we see what is happening now out there. I mean, he's a seasoned politician, member of parliament who has been given stellar service to the people of Southeast St. Andrew. Now, member of parliament, Julian Robinson, how are you feeling? You know, what does this term represent and mean for you, especially with the announcement of new taxes that has been announced by the Minister of Finance? What do you think this term is going to be looking like?
I'm very concerned. I'm concerned for people who have lost their jobs, businesses that have been closed down as a result of the hurricane, people who have no roofs over their head. Imposing new taxes on those persons at this particular time is going to drive them into further hardship. It is going to contract the economy. We don't know the specifics yet. The minister will indicate.
Right here?
No, those guys.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Hello, my mother.
Ready? Yes, Jamaica. So behind us, you can see the comrades are excited. Party leader has finally made his arrival. And so, you know, the energy just gets turned up a little bit more. And we are going to be indeed hearing from him today. You know, this is his first time returning to the parliament in this season for the ceremonial opening. And so we're going to be talking to him. We also have Vice President Natalie Nita Garvey, who is here with us. Seasoned member of parliament, Comrade Dennis Daly, who is here looking very dapper and fine. So yes, Jamaica, let's
we're heading over to
hear from Comrade Leader.
The party leader himself.
Good morning, Comrade Leader.
My leader.
You're looking very dapper.
Yeah, yes.
I see in the purple, is this representing Campion College today?
Just the colour of choice for the day.
Okay, you're looking very fine, and I must say welcome, Happy New Year.
Thank you.
You know, what is the vibe and energy today? We see the comrades are very excited to see you.
Well,
I mean, yes.
Well, I just got here, but it's always a joy to be well received, and certainly I was well received today. And I'm just happy that they've come out to show their support and love for the leadership of their party.
Yes.
And you know, it's an annual event really, and I think people look forward to it. And a little pomp and circumstance can be fun, you know. So we're playing our part and want to hear what the government's coming with later. Want to hear what tax measures are. The Independent Fiscal Commission has called for the tabling of the revenue measures at the same time as the rest of the budget documents are tabled. In the past, the revenue measures have typically been held back until the very end of the process. And he is not acceptable because it prevents a proper analysis of the budget and so on. So I'm expecting and hoping that we'll find out what taxes this government is intending to impose on the people at this time, today, so that we can study it properly and analyze it and say what we have to say about it. So that to me is one of the major items for today's proceedings.
You'll be presenting in the budget debate in a few weeks from now.
Yes.
What is Jamaica to expect from you, particularly from this budget presentation?
Well, I don't want to disclose too much, but essentially an analysis of where we are now and where we're going, and some recommendations for how I think the whole thing of national development and economic development should be approached at this time. So, you know, it's my speech is a work in progress, but it will be along those lines.
Are you concerned about the direction of the finance minister and how she's directing the path for Jamaica's financial prospects?
Well, the problem with the finance minister is that, you know, she's not a very comfortable communicator. She's somewhat awkward in her delivery. So it's often not possible to get a really clear understanding of some of the rationales and reasons for some of the things that are happening. In terms of overall economic policy, you know, we're at a very crucial juncture now because the path that we have been following has been, to some extent, torpedoed by this hurricane. And it creates a new paradigm where we have to adjust to try and get the economy back up and running, to provide support and help for the tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of Jamaicans who are suffering, as you well know, Andre, having gone out into the field so much to help people, and how Jamaica finances that. And, you know, I must say that I'm not impressed with the approach. Well, I would say the approach to financing the recovery. I would like to have seen greater exploration of creative solutions to lower the cost of borrowing, which is part of the whole concept of climate justice.
Yes.
And, you know, we have gone so far it appears that we're pursuing a very conventional path, which is going to add significant debt and the burden of debt service to the people and to the annual budgets going forward. So that is a concern for me. Yeah.
Well, Comrade Leader, one final question. We know that you've been dubbed the integrity boss, and we know that your leadership, you know, integrity and accountability has been a hallmark of that. Seeing what we're seeing unfolding now since this new term, we recognize that there's still a lot of issues, and that accountability is something that will still have to be made front and center. How are you feeling about that? I recognize the team is also on its toes with holding the government to account in terms of bringing some of the issues to light, the health sector, you know, we see what is happening. How do you feel about that for this term, and, you know, what should Jamaicans expect and look forward to?
Well, most recent report of Jamaica's ranking in the corruption index, you know, indicates a stagnation. And we're at the low end, which is the worst end of our peer group in the Caribbean. So there's a great deal of work that needs to be done, because if probity, integrity, and good governance are not at the center of how we approach development, then you're not going to get the cohesiveness of a society where people buy into the mission and are prepared to put their efforts behind it, because people will be cynical, justifiably, that those who are leading have motives which are not pure and clean. So it's very important that we as an opposition remain vigilant on this. I believe in due process. I don't believe in proceeding on the basis of conjecture or rumor, but where things become clear, action should be taken. Yeah.
So we expect further strengthening and bringing more fire from the opposition.
We will continue to do what we're doing. We have been particularly active in Parliament, where our numbers have gone up, as you know, we've doubled it. Yeah, which is great. It gives us more heft in Parliament, and we intend to continue to leverage the weekly opportunity that we have to express and support and defend the interests and rights of the Jamaican people. Thank you very much.
Have it. There you have it, Jamaica. The leader of the opposition, Sir Mark Jefferson Golding. He did exception. What you said? What you said? One Mark Kitchen. All right. One Mark Kitchen. Come man, come here. Come quickly, come. Tell us why you're here today. Why are you here today?
Okay. President, good morning to everyone. We as Jamaican people need to stand up against the corruption and wickedness that is happening in our country. The poor people are getting poorer every day and the rich is getting richer. And there seems to be no alternative, no change. There needs to be somebody to stand up for the poor people. Therefore, Mark Gordon is our angel, our admirer, the person that is taking us to another level. We were robbed, but we will not be despondent. We will not give up. We will stand firm. We need to see the people and through all this hardship and separation that they are going through, which is practically hell. Andrew Holness is a devil. We need to get rid of him. We, the people, need to stand firm.
All right, comrade. All right. The man himself, the general, the man Jamaica that carried the opposition to 28 seats. The boss who is in Eastern Westmoreland, Dr. Dayton Campbell. Dr. Campbell, how are you feeling for this parliamentary year?
Morning. I was hoping that this year we would have been going in as government, but nonetheless, we're happy to be here in greater numbers, and we commit to being defenders of the rights of the people, especially the lower class of people, to ensure that the laws of the country protect their rights and that it gives them an opportunity to become the best version of themselves.
Okay. What I wanted to expect from you this parliamentary year, though?
Well, what we want to do this year is to ensure that issues that we consider important that are not a part of the government's agenda, that we try to get them onto the agenda, whether it's through private members' motion, private members' bill, and issues that they're bringing to the fore, that we ensure that we scrutinize them properly to ensure that we do protect the interests of our people. So there's a lot that needs to be done in relation to employment opportunities, just so that people can have a better quality of life, in relation to education, healthcare is currently under pressure. Agriculture needs an overall. And we need to adopt to newer technologies. You know, I've started out myself showing an example as to what can be achieved if you adapt to newer technologies.
You have inspired me to start my farming project. Remember a year and a half ago when you were speaking about the prospect of farming, I started to do my research, and yes, Jamaica, Dr. Dayton Campbell is my inspiration for the farming project that I'm on now. So are you particularly worried about what is happening in Westmoreland with the delay in the restoration for the people of Westmoreland?
Very concerned. The truth is that I listened to an update from JPS yesterday in which they said that 17,000 persons are still without electricity. We only have about 800 persons in Eastern Westmoreland with electricity, and we have about 10,000 JPS customers.
Wow.
So it means that the majority, over 50% of those that are still without, are from Eastern Westmoreland. The damage is severe. The road, I heard the Minister of Works speaking to the intervention with the roads, and he said 500 million will be spent in Kingston and St. Andrew and 100 million in Westmoreland. No, that doesn't make any sense, because there was minimal damage in Kingston and St. Andrew. So if it's a program to deal with the damage from the hurricane, the majority of it should be spent in the western end of the island. Persons in relation to the housing, there is a significant deficit in relation to the housing, and that needs to get ahead with speed.
Well, we'll have a follow-up with you on PDTV and PMP Jamaica so that you can speak about what is really happening in Westmoreland. Keep well, my blessings.
All right.
We're going to walk
Jamaica,
up.
We're going to cut. Now they're about to take their walk up
and
to
we will be
Parliament,
with
we're
them.
going to be showing you that.
Yeah, up at the front. I can take this over.
Staff. So we have a bit of updated information. Vice Admiral Weems Gorman is unavoidably absent today, and she has sent a representative who you have just seen on the saluting days receiving the acknowledgement of the Guard Commander. We continue to describe the action as it unfolds.
The Governor General will be the last to arrive, where he will be given a royal salute, inspects the Guard of Honor, and then heads inside to deliver the throne speech.
But Lisa, Duke Street, we've spoken about its history, and I'd like us to touch on it a little bit. The street was part of the original grid plan for the new city of Kingston. That wasn't yesterday. That was in 1692.
And Duke Street, it has served as a center for finance and law. As a matter of fact, the legacy continues as many of Jamaica's most distinguished attorneys, get this, they still operate from offices along the corridor. So it is customary to hear that an attorney's office is located at Duke Street.
That is correct. And it's particularly due to its proximity to the Supreme Court that it became known as the premier address for law firms and financial institutions, and it remains so.
On Duke Street 2 at 79 Duke Street, it is the home of the Georgian-style mansion, which is the headquarters of the Jamaica National Heritage Trust, and the building previously served as the meeting place of our legislature. This is, of course, a few meters away from where we now meet at Gordon House.
As we await the march to Gordon House, there are quite a few first-time members of Parliament and senators this morning, stemming from the results of our September 2025 general election. But we pause to acknowledge the leader of the Senate, Thomas Tavares Finson, who is arriving now to make his way into the chamber. And he is accompanied by his wife, Rose Tavares Finson. Senator, the Honorable Thomas Tavares Finson, has been serving in the Senate since 2007, and he became its president, Lisa, in March 2016. We've mentioned, Lisa, that it is the place for law firms and financial institutions. Duke Street was also an 18th century residential hub, originally populated by wealthy merchants and officials. And Headquarters House, built in 1755, was built by the merchant Thomas Hibbert, and it stands as a prominent example of this era.
Earlier we saw the Police Commissioner, Dr. Kevin Blake, greeting the President of the Senate, Thomas Tavares Finson.
So earlier we mentioned that there are quite a few first-time MPs and senators this morning, and we can name a few of them. Lisa, there's Keith Duncan, the former president of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSOJ. There's Christian Tavares Finson. Viewers and listeners, you would recognize the name, attorney at law, and whose father is the Senate president.
And attorney at law Rosemary Bennett Cooper. First-time opposition senators too, Keisha Gay Anderson, who is a director at Jamaica Money Market Brokers, JMMB, Alan Bernard, who is an educator, Dr. Maziki Tem, senior lecturer in the Department of Government at the University of the West Indies, Mona, and a voice that is known to many as he favors many talk shows and radio programs, financial analyst Cleveland Tomlinson, and the Chief Executive Officer of Barita Investments Limited, Ramon Small Ferguson.
The government senators are made up of 13. There are 13 government senators, and there are 8 opposition senators in place. That is the total number for the upper house. Here you're seeing the southern end of Duke Street, where representatives who are here to cheer on the People's National Party are gathering. Now, we've mentioned a few times that we're all waiting on His Excellency, the Governor General, to arrive, but he will be immediately preceded by his wife, Lady Allen.
And you are now seeing on your screens the Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Most Honorable Juliet Holness. She was elected to serve as Speaker in September 2023. Mrs. Holness is looking beautiful in a cobalt blue dress with a cobalt blue fascinator. She has served as Deputy Speaker of the House from 2020 to 2023, now serves as the House Speaker. She is the 16th House Speaker.
Now, her role is to see that other members keep within the rules of the House and that the rights of the opposition members are protected and that every member gets a fair hearing. Weighty role.
Scenes there of jubilant supporters as the Prime Minister and his team make their way into Gordon House.
Yes, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness is making his way, surrounded by other...
To continue walking.
Yeah, I guess they're positioning themselves.
So that's it. Just going to talk about, well, I'll give them a recap of.
That was the second sword salute. The other color represents the regiment or unit of the Jamaica Defence Force that forms the Guard of Honor. These flags are also trimmed with gold fabric and display the formation's insignia in the center. Now you may have seen that flag with the Jamaican colors.
The Governor General now enters the chamber. Here's what will happen next. The Clerk of the Legislature, Colleen Lowe, will meet the Governor General at the foot of the stairs and with him will move towards the chamber's entrance. They will pause there for what is called the flourish of trumpets, a brief musical fanfare that precedes him. Then the Marshal to the Houses of Parliament, that is Captain Wayne Blake, will announce his entry, for which all present will stand. The measured cadence of the military band has provided us with lovely music this morning. Again, they are the mass band of the Jamaica Regiment Corps of Drums, led by Bandmaster Warrant Officer Class 1, Gregory Nicholson, and the drum is Warrant Officer Class 2, Ramoy Dawkins. Now, Lisa, having completed their duties in splendid fashion for the morning, the Guard of Honor will depart as precisely and silently as they arrived, as those within the chamber await the delivery of the throne speech.
And many Jamaicans are expecting to hear what will be announced. This throne speech takes place against the backdrop of two significant things. We have double-digit decline in crime, but we also have been hit by one of the most powerful hurricanes, Hurricane Melissa. People will be expecting to hear how the government plans to support those impacted and also how we will go about building back stronger and, of course, making us a far more resilient country.
And that is the whole thrust behind the throne speech, for it outlines government's parliamentary policies and executive intentions for the coming legislative year. Now, it's important to note that this morning's ceremony will be followed in the afternoon, the second session, by the tabling of the 2026-2027 estimates of expenditure by the Minister of Finance and the Public Service, the Honourable Favour Williams. Those estimates will provide details on the amount the government intends to spend on recurring business, on capital projects. We're now getting visuals from inside the chamber as the Governor General takes his place. Having taken his place in the chamber, the proceedings inside the chamber will continue, starting with the invocation, which will be done by Pastor Everett Brown, President of the Jamaica Union Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. He will be performing the invocation today.
A quick reminder that the throne speech outlines the government's parliamentary policies and executive intentions for the coming legislative year.
The Guard of Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, this morning has unfolded.
I now invite Pastor Everett Brown, President of the Jamaica Union Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, to say prayer.
Let us pray. Divine, all-powerful God, who rules in the affairs of nations, the source of all wisdom and knowledge, we humbly pause at the opening of this new legislature to acknowledge you as the one who holds Jamaica's past, present, and future in your sovereign hands. We thank you, O gracious eternal Father, for the rich legacy of our national heroes, men and women of courage, conviction, and conscience, whose sacrifice, vision, and faith helped to shape a nation committed to justice, dignity, and freedom. We honor not only their memory, but the living work of all who seek to transform their dreams into reality. We give you thanks for those who serve today, our Governor General, Prime Minister, Leader of the Opposition, and other elected representatives and leaders, for government agencies and the civil service, for the public and private sectors, and our dedicated workers, faithful farmers, and for the resilient people of Jamaica at home and abroad. We pray that you would grant wisdom to those who legislate, integrity to those who administer, diligence to those who labor, and hope for those who wait. We acknowledge, O God, that our nation has walked through the valley of loss and disruption caused by Hurricane Melissa. We mourn the loss of lives, saddened by what was damaged, displaced, and delayed. Yet, O God, we thank you that even in adversity, Jamaica continues to advance, steadfast, creative, and determined. Heal our nation, we pray. Turn our setbacks into strategies, our trials into testimony, and our recovery into renewal. We pray today, sovereign Almighty God, that as this Parliament begins its work, establish before us noble goals, that justice may be strengthened, that economic opportunity may be broadened, that communities may be safer and more compassionate, that the vulnerable may be protected, and that truth, transparency, and accountability may guide every decision within these chambers. May the laws framed here reflect moral clarity, social responsibility, and a deep respect for the worth of every Jamaican. May debate within these chambers be firm yet fair, leadership be bold yet humble, and governance be guided by service rather than self-interest. Finally, O Lord, we commit this legislative year into your care. Grant us wisdom to decide, courage to do right, and grace to serve well. May our nation move forward in peace with purpose, unity with understanding, and development with principle, until Jamaica stands secure, just and hopeful, blessed in vision, balanced in values, and bold in faith. Gracious God, accept our prayer, we pray. Amen.
Please be seated.
By virtue of the Constitution of Jamaica, a proclamation. By His Excellency the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Linton Allen, Member of the Order of the Nation, Knight, Grand Cross of the Most Distinguished Order of St. Michael and St. George, Commander of the Order of Distinction, Knight of Grace of the Most Venerable Order of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem, Governor General of Jamaica, whereas it is provided by subsection 1 of section 63 of the Constitution of Jamaica that each session of Parliament of Jamaica shall be held at such place and shall commence at such time as the Governor General may by proclamation appoint. And whereas it is expedient that a session of the Parliament of Jamaica should be held at such place and time as shall hereinafter appear. Now therefore, Patrick Linton Allen, Member of the Order of the Nation, Knight Grand Cross of the Most Distinguished Order of St. Michael and St. George, Commander of the Order of Distinction, Knight of Grace of the Most Venerable Order of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem, Governor General of Jamaica, in exercise of the power conferred on me by subsection 1 of section 63 of the Constitution of Jamaica, do hereby proclaim and make known that a session of the Parliament of Jamaica shall be held at George William Gordon House in the parish of Kingston, commencing at 11 a.m. on the 12th day of February 2026. Given under my hand and the broad seal of Jamaica at King's House, this 9th day of February in the year of our Lord, 2026, and the 4th year of the reign of His Majesty King Charles III. God save the King.
Thank you. Honorable members, we are gathered at a decisive moment in Jamaica's national journey. In the past year, our nation was tested by Hurricane Melissa, one of the most destructive and disruptive climate events in our history. It tested our institutions, and communities, but it did not break our indomitable spirit. It also revealed something fundamental, that Jamaica has changed. We are no longer a country that merely reacts to crises.
University set a course for change.
Long before Hurricane Melissa made landfall, Jamaica had put in place a multi-layered disaster of the hurricane. The government secured a U.S. to support recovery and rebuilding, the largest and fastest mobilization ever achieved by Jamaica. This strength was underscored in the immediate aftermath of the hurricane, when all three major international rating agencies reaffirmed Jamaica's sovereign ratings. This is an extraordinary vote of confidence in our policy discipline and institutional credibility. The months following Hurricane Melissa have reinforced three simple truths. One, preparedness matters. Two, institutional strength matters. And leadership matters. It is this hard-earned resilience that now allows Jamaica not only to recover, but also to move forward, rebuilding smarter, strengthening national systems, and expanding opportunities. The government's plan for the year ahead go beyond not only reconstructing what was damaged, by reimagining what is possible. But building modern infrastructure with greater climate resilience, and institutions designed for speed, scale, and opportunity. This is about turning adversity into advantage, about shaping a Jamaica that is stronger in the face of shock, more competitive on the global market, and more inclusive in the prosperity that it creates. The challenges ahead are real, but so too is Jamaica's ambition. With resilience as our foundation and opportunity as our direction, Jamaica moves forward not merely to recover, but to rise. Confident in our capacity, disciplined in our choices, and determined to shape a future worthy of our people. Honourable members, the government continues to drive effective coordination of national policy and public sector reform by strengthening accountability, results-based management, and institutional capability across government in support of Vision 2030 Jamaica. This has taken on heightened urgency in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. The widespread devastation caused by the hurricane underscored both the vulnerability of critical infrastructure and the need for a more integrated and disciplined national framework for recovery and resilience. In response, the government has established the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, initially as a department, pending the enactment of special purpose legislation to constitute it as a statutory corporation. NARA will operate as a center of technical excellence for project preparation and execution. NARA will serve as a single point of national coordination across ministries, agencies, and development partners, while providing a structured platform for public-private partnership. Through NARA, Jamaica will convert unprecedented levels of international financing into bankable, resilient projects delivered transparently, quickly, with discipline, and with measurable impact. This authority represents a new development architecture for Jamaica, one that embeds resilience into national planning, accelerates delivery, and ensures that reconstruction and resilience investments translate into lasting economic opportunity and sustained national strength. Honorable members, following Hurricane Melissa, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, supported by the Jamaica Defense Force, provided humanitarian support through a hub and spoke system. ODPEM also completed the Jamaican dollar $1.87 billion improved emergency communication system, created to secure national radio and data network for faster, more reliable emergency communication. As Jamaica continues to strengthen a national identification framework, hitting the Registrar General's Department, and launched a new client. The government will pursue a mission-driven strategy for science, technology, and innovation that converts Jamaica to measurable national outcomes. The focus is on research for development, for science, and second, Jamaica's national natural disaster risk financing policy enabled an immediate response to Hurricane Melissa. All disaster risk financing instruments were triggered. The deposits in the Contingencies Fund and the National Natural Disaster Reserve Fund financed relief, rehabilitation, and initial reconstruction, supplemented by donor flows. Thirdly, Moody's upgraded Jamaica's long-term issuer and senior unsecured ratings to Ba3 from B1 in December 2025. With our outlook revised to stable, this upgrade delivered after Hurricane Melissa reflects strengthened institutional and policy frameworks, sustained fiscal discipline, stronger financial sector oversight, and enhanced disaster risk management, S&P and assets tax specified bodies Act to change corporate income tax and assets tax filing and payment during in due dates. For 2026-27, priorities include implementing procurement system reforms through the Public Procurement Commission and secure physical infrastructure of the Jamaica Constabulary Force to provide modern, fit-for-purpose facilities for both police officers and the public they serve. Over $17 billion in capital projects has been committed, and despite the impact of Hurricane Melissa, 27 restoration projects valued at Jamaican $2 billion are ready and underway or scheduled to commence. Technology development also continues apace, with the C5 business solution to be implemented this fiscal year and the expansion of the ticketing information management system, TIMS, to support improved public order. We are also ensuring that the peace dividends are felt across the wider society, as all ministries, departments, and agencies work collectively to sustain peace and good public order. Our regional and international partnerships remain critical with Jamaica strengthening its leadership through initiatives such as hosting the inaugural Caribbean Trafficking in Persons CARITIP Forum. 2, establishing a regional anti-trafficking coalition. And 3, advancing the National Small Arms Control Strategy under the Salient Jamaican Program, a joint United Nations initiative. Legislative reform remains a key pillar to our national security agenda. Amendments to the Aliens Act, the Immigration Restriction Act, and the Firearms Act are progressing, with priorities for the period ahead include reform of the Corrections Act, review of public order legislation, expansion of security technology, upgrades to Jamaica Eye, continued facility construction, and the commencement of a new specialized operations facility.
It's time to stop wasting money every month on electricity and start getting free energy from the sun. Invest as little as $890,000 on a complete solar panel system from Essential Solar and get free power from the sun day and night. Power all your kitchen appliances, AC, TV, water pump, water heater with our top-of-the-line combo that includes an 8-kilowatt smart hybrid inverter, batteries, and 7 solar panels. Conditions apply. The time to buy solar is now. Don't wait until that summer light bill hits you in the face. Request an estimate today.
Call or WhatsApp any of the numbers on your screen or visit essentialsolarsystems.com. We deliver island-wide. Essential Solar. Let the sun give you power.
Director of Public Prosecutions, Correctional Services, and related agencies. Justice serves remained robust. The Restorative Justice Program concluded over 1,000 conferences and sensitized approximately 22,000 individuals. The Victim Services Division assisted over 3,000 new clients, delivered over 8,000 counseling sessions, and supported over 1,000 victims in court. The Child Diversion Program engaged nearly 7,000 persons, while the Legal Aid Council provided representation to over 2,700 individuals. The strong promotion of alternative dispute resolution continues to emphasize the avoidance of violence in settling disputes. Parliament passed amendments increasing penalties for murder through the Offences Against the Person and Criminal Justice Administration Acts. Legislative priorities progress of jury tampering. For 2026-27, The priorities include rehabilitation of damaged facilities, advancing constitutional reform toward a republic, addressing judicial tenure, and undertaking major amendments to the Sexual Offences and Offences Against the Person Acts, including the introduction of new offences such as stalking. Honourable members, with Jamaica's strong job creation gains and expanding capital program, the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation has been renamed the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development to sharpen its focus on sustained economic expansion and national resilience. Following Hurricane Melissa, the government led major recovery efforts, clearing most of the 400 impacted roads within 5 days after the event and restoring access for emergency response, utilities, and relief operations. This work now transitions into targeted repairs to hurricane-damaged roofs, gullies, and drains, including Sandy Gully in St. Andrew and the North and South Gullies in St. James, supported by an expanded national drain cleaning program. Long-term infrastructure delivery continues to accelerate. By December 2025, the SPARK program had reached 20% completion. Major national projects also advanced significantly. The Montego Bay Perimeter Road is 75% complete and scheduled to be completed in September 2026. The Long Hill Bypass is scheduled to be completed in January 2027. And Barnett Street in March 2027, among several others. The construction of the Portmore Resilience Park will also be finalized in 2026-2027. Capacity expansion continues under the Special Capital Expenditure Program, including the dualization of Brayton Road and the Hillshire Main Road and the phased Arthur Wint Drive. Tom Redcombe and Camp Road will also be upgraded. The Accelerated Bridge Program will also begin replacing structurally vulnerable bridges. Land, housing, and urban planning reforms remain central. The Systematic Land Registration Program has produced over 13,000 titles. Including over 10,000 delivered across St. Elizabeth, Manchester, and St. Catherine. Through strategic funding partnerships, we will continue to increase the insurance of titles. Additionally, to improve efficiency, the contract for the electronic titling system was signed and implementation is planned for 2027-2028. To improve our capacity, we are also advancing our partnership with Korea in our surveyor training program. Under the new social housing program, 314 units, that's 720 rooms, have been completed, benefiting more than 1,100 Jamaicans. Delivery of more housing units through different modalities will be achieved by using new building methods and systems, giving an opportunity to more small contractors, especially our young people. Legislative priorities include the Quantity Surveyors Registration Act, Registration Shared Community Act, and reforms to the Real Estate and Rent Restriction Acts, alongside policies on squatter management, urban renewal, construction industry reform, and public rights of way governance. Honorable members, even as it led national relief coordination, damage assessments, and recovery efforts, the government ensured uninterrupted delivery of PATH, National Insurance Scheme benefits, and social pensions. Following Hurricane Melissa, the government executed one of the largest and fastest social response operations in Jamaica's history. More than 75,000 damage assessments were completed within the first 100 days, and over 90,000 by the first week of February, using the upgraded JHDINA Lite platform and a real-time national dashboard supported by over 700 committed volunteers, 400 of whom were from the MDAs and citizens volunteers. Recovery efforts have now moved decisively into shelter restoration with the launch of the Shelter Recovery Program, including the restoration of owner and occupant family shelter roofs program. This is the largest housing recovery initiative ever undertaken in Jamaica. With more than Jamaica $10 billion initially allocated, and Jamaica $2 billion has already been disbursed. Digital transformation also continued to expand access, accountability, and inclusion. The I'm Alive application is scheduled to launch early in the new fiscal year to enable secure electronic life verification for pensioners. Additionally, the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities launched the I Am Able digital platform. The Occupational Safety and Health Bill has progressed through multiple drafting stages and is expected to proceed to Parliament in 2026-2027. Looking ahead, the government will advance unemployment insurance legislation through amendments to the National Insurance Act and related laws, the development of a national productivity measurement framework, and the creation of an occupational safety and health risk management toolkit. In 2025-2026, the government advanced Jamaica's diplomatic, multilateral, and trade agenda with a clear focus on resilience, strategic planning and partnerships, and post-disaster recovery. Jamaica's leadership on the regional stage was particularly evident during its tenure as chair of the Caribbean Conference Heads of Government from July from July to December 2025. We are proud to report that during this period, intra-regional airlift expanded, trade cooperation deepened, and the concrete progress was made on food and nutrition security initiatives, youth development, and also cybersecurity. Regional security cooperation was also advanced through the sharing of best practices and engagement on transnational organized crime, alongside strengthened CARICOM Africa relationships. In the wake of Hurricane Melissa, through its missions and partnerships worldwide, Jamaica secured invaluable delivery of essential goods, technical expertise, and humanitarian support from bilateral and multilateral partners, non-governmental organizations, and the Jamaican diaspora. Jamaica also signed the UN Cybercrime Convention, ratified the Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction Agreement, advanced work on a deep seabed mining legislative framework, and commenced preparations to strengthen compliance with United Nations Security Council resolutions on counterterrorism and non-proliferation. Looking ahead to 2026-2027, the government's priorities include: 1, deepening bilateral engagement with traditional and non-traditional partners; 2, advancing UN 80 multilateral reform efforts and global action against transnational crime; and 3, finalizing an updated foreign trade policy and action plan to boost exports, attract investment, and support Jamaica's economic recovery and growth. Honorable members, the 2024-2025 academic year confirmed that Jamaica's education system has regained its stride. PEP and CXC results surpassed previous cohorts. And regional averages, restoring and in some areas exceeding pre-pandemic performance. This achievement belongs to our principals, teachers, parents, and students. Despite severe infrastructural damage from Hurricane Melissa, the sector demonstrated exceptional resilience. All schools in affected parishes resumed teaching and learning within 90 days, and this is an unprecedented national accomplishment that underscores strong leadership and the government's commitment, and also the government's commitment to no child will be left behind. Reconstruction efforts are advancing at scale, and all priority 1 institutions will be fully repaired within this calendar year. The government is also accelerating modernization. 1, 10 technical high schools will receive state-of-the-art technical and vocational education and training TVET labs in partnership with the Human Employment and Resource Training National Service Training Agency, HART, NSTA Trust. 2, 86 schools will have upgraded science laboratories. 3, and by late 2026, ground will be broken for Bernard Lodge and Minard STEAM schools. Ushering in a new era of science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics education. Institutional reform is also advancing. The government will establish a Department of Family and Children's Services and reform the Youth and Adolescents Policy Division to strengthen governance and evidence-based policymaking. Legislative priorities include completing consultations on the Jamaica Teaching Council Bill and updating school governance regulations under the Education Act. Studies have shown that institutions with strong school governance are better run and deliver more impressive educational outcomes. These new regulations will introduce best practices of school governance to all our institutions. Implementation of the Education Transformation Commission recommendation also continues, with 33% ready implemented. Under the information portfolio, the government will introduce a modern communication apparatus to ensure Jamaica has access to accurate public information, unbiased public information, protecting truth, strengthening trust, safeguarding democratic values, and reinforcing our shared national consciousness. Honorable members, despite the devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa, which resulted in losses exceeding 10 billion Jamaican dollars, Jamaica's water sector demonstrated resilience and rapid recovery. By December 2025, water the procurement of 12 additional water trucks, adding 146,000 liters of emergency supply per cycle. To ease the impact of drought conditions, Jamaica has 243 million, to ease the impact of drought conditions, Jamaican dollars 243 million was allocated to Parliament, to the members of Parliament, for trucked water support. Rural Water Supply Limited expanded access to potable water for more than 8,700 residents, with the figure projected to reach approximately 14,000 by March 2026. Additionally, Jamaican 28 million Western Resilience Water Project which was launched in June 2025, remains on track, with engineering and design work now complete. This project is scheduled to enter the full construction phase in June 2026. This will improve water supply and build resilience between Trelawney and Westmoreland for over 150,000 Jamaicans. Climate resilience and environmental management were also strengthened. The Water Resources Authority installed real-time flood gauges in Content, Manchester, and developed a climate-linked food insecurity mapping tool to support early warning and also planning. Under the National Tree Planting Initiative, Phase 2, more than 200,000 trees were planted. And 60 new forest management areas were declared. The Forestry Department further enhanced recovery and biodiversity protection through the deployment of the region's first tree spade. The use of its bulldozer component played a critical role in clearing roads. On the policy and legislative front, priorities in 2026-27 include passing a modern Forest Act, amending the Wildlife Protection Act, and advancing comprehensive climate change legislation, as well as a beach access and management policy. Secondly, the government will also pursue US $20 million from the International Loss and Damage Fund to climate-proof water systems, complete rural water projects in Hampshire, Riversdale, St. Catherine, and Stepney in St. Anne, benefiting 4,600 residents, and also implement major e-mobility initiatives in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme, the Global Environment Facility, and the German Agency for International Cooperation. Honourable members, notwithstanding the extensive damage inflicted on Jamaica's electricity grid by Hurricane Melissa, through decisive action and the steadfast support of government, the Jamaica Public Service Company successfully restored power to over 90% of its customers. By December 2025. Beyond emergency recovery, advanced major reforms in energy efficiency, transport modernization, and telecommunications are underway. Deep retrofitting works, including solar PV systems, efficient lighting, and upgraded air conditioning. These were completed at the University Hospital of the West Indies, with similar upgrades underway across public facilities to reduce costs and strengthen grid resilience. Public transport modernization continued with the acquisition of 200 of 300 CNG buses, completion of phase 1 of the rural school bus program, and also the launch of phase 2, supported by new bus procurement and designated school stops, equipped with improved safety and monitoring systems. Strategic infrastructure upgrades progressed, including one, Jamaican dollars 5 billion in airport improvements at Sangster International and Norman Manley International, and the deployment of 200 Ports Security Corps officers to reinforce border protection. A letter intent was also signed with Transamerica's fiber system to develop a new subsea fiber optic cable, expanding bandwidth, improving resilience, and reducing long-term connectivity costs. Legislative progress included the Petroleum Downstream Bill, the Civil Aviation Amendment Bill, amendments to enable electronic vehicle certification, and the implementation of the electricity wheeling regulations. For 2026-27, priorities include negotiating a new all-island electricity license, advancing a ride-hailing policy, procuring 150 additional school buses, and finalizing the National Emergency Telecommunications Plan. Honorable members, in 2025-26, the government advanced major recovery, infrastructure, and legislative reforms while safeguarding continuity of health care in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. Following the activation of the Health Emergency Operations System and Center, in partnership with the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, the government implemented a structured three-phase relief, rehabilitation, and reconstruction program. This ensured the rapid restoration of essential health services, supported shelters, and enabled timely field assessment across all affected areas. Rehabilitation of primary care infrastructure remains a central priority alongside the delivery of major capital projects. The Western Child and Adolescent Hospital, which will provide 220 beds, 4 operating theaters, and diagnostic equipment, might I take that again from the top? Rehabilitation of primary care infrastructure remains a central priority alongside the delivery of major capital projects. The Western Child and Adolescent Hospital, which will provide 220 beds, 4 operating theaters, and diagnostic equipment, is at 77% completion. Significant upgrades continued under the Health Systems Strengthening Program. These include 1. the Jamaican $55 billion Spanish Town Hospital redevelopment. Now 24% complete. 2, the Jamaican $930 million Old Harbor Health Center. Now 74% complete. The Jamaican $660 million Greater Portmore Health Center upgrade. The Jamaican $704 million St. Jago Park Health Center expansion. Both now at 60% complete. That is the Portmore Health Center and the St. Jago Park Health Center expansion. And lastly, rehabilitation of Cornwall Regional Hospital. This is now 85% complete. The completion of the Cornwall Regional Hospital will result in an increase in its operating room capacity up to 11. The radiology department will be outfitted with 3 ultrasound machines, CT scanner, fluoroscopy mammography, and dental CT panoramics imaging machines. Legislative reforms progressed steadily, and the advancement of the Tobacco Control Bill and the Food and Drugs Amendment Bill, alongside amendments to the Nurses and Midwives Act and the Pharmacy Act to formally recognize and regulate advanced practice registration nurses, strengthening workforce flexibility and service delivery. Looking ahead to 2026-27, priorities include the rehabilitation of 101 health centers and the Savannah Lamar Hospital and modernizing 125 primary care facilities. Technical assistance will also be undertaken to inform the reconstruction of the Noel Holmes Hospital, the Falmouth and Black River hospitals also. Additionally, preparatory work will commence for the modernization and redevelopment of the Kingston Public Hospital and a new Type C hospital at Bernal Lodge, positioning the health system for resilience, equity, and future demand. Honorable members, in 2025-2026, the government strengthened sectoral resilience amid severe climate shocks. Up to September, domestic crop production was on track for a record 930,000 tons, while bauxite output rose by 10% to 4.3 million tons. Hurricane Melissa, however, caused major damage, prompting an intensive recovery and modernization drive. Through the Jamaican $3 billion Hurricane Melissa Disaster Recovery Program, the support to impact over 70,000 farmers and fishers is ongoing. Our key actions include, and still includes, restoration of 4,600 hectares of farmland, distribution of 140 million gallons of water, implementing a Jamaican $40 million lease moratorium, waiving fishing license fees for 1,008 fishers, preparing 1,625 hectares of land for 2,000 farmers, and providing fertilizers, seeds, planting materials, livestock support, and beach rehabilitation. A further Jamaican $180 million was used to restore coastal infrastructure and support conch and lobster fishers. A major milestone was last week's opening of the Essex Valley Cold Storage and Agro-Processing Facility in St. Elizabeth. This is expanding storage, processing, and marketing capacity, cutting post-harvest losses, and boosting resilience in Jamaica's agricultural breadbasket. Water security and minerals development also advanced. The Jamaican $1.5 billion Parnassus irrigation system delivered 13.6 kilometers of new pipelines serving 315 hectares, while limestone exports tripled to 750,000 tons, and extensive land rehabilitation and community infrastructure upgrades supported over 8,000 residents. Legislative progress included the passage of the Peda-Larceny Amendment Act and the advancement of the Geological Survey Act. For 2026-2027, priorities include advancing the work to establish a national food reserve as well as a minerals institute, greenhouse clusters, new agri-parks, rehabilitation of 6 fishing beaches and 70 farm roads, youth startup incentives, quarry material depots, and national landslide hazard remapping and mapping. As I move on, honorable members, tourism remained a cornerstone of economic resilience in 2025-2026, rebounding strongly before Hurricane Melissa disrupted late-year momentum. Despite this, the sector demonstrated exceptional recovery, welcoming 3.7 million visitors and generating US $3.8 billion in revenue. The Tourism Recovery Task Force led a rapid national response, enabling the full reopening of the sector by December 15, 2025. Major properties in Ocho Rios, Negril, and Montego Bay resumed operations quickly, signaling to global markets that Jamaica remains open for business. A major policy breakthrough came with the Cabinet's approval of the Destination Assurance Framework and Strategy, the world's first codified destination assurance policy, designated to guarantee safe, seamless, high-quality legislative work advanced on a new Tourist Board Act, the Modernized Travel Agencies Act, and amendments to the Bath of the Apostle and Milk River Bath acts to support public-private partnerships. For 2026-2027, the government will prioritize the Local First initiative deepening domestic sourcing and MSME linkages. Market diversification will accelerate toward Latin America, the Middle East, and India, with the goal of raising Latin American market share from 2% to 10% by 2027, and positioning Jamaica to reach 8 million visitors and US $10 billion in earnings by 2030. Honorable members, the government strengthened Jamaica's investment climate, supported MSMEs, and advanced major reforms even as the nation recovers from Hurricane Melissa. Significant investments moved forward, including Accelerate Energy's US $1.55 billion acquisition of the new Fortress Energy LNG and power platform. Special economic zones remain a powerful catalyst, with the Jamaica Special Economic Zone Authority facilitating nearly US $1 billion to date, including US $34 million in 2025 and 2026. Manufacturers benefited from Jamaica $82 billion in tax relief under the Productive Incentive Relief Program, while 52 MSMEs received Jamaican dollars 18 million in grants. The government implemented emergency pre-gouging protections and executed a coordinated MSME recovery. This program, including generator loans, rapid assessments, and the reconstruction of 51 business kiosks in Border, St. Elizabeth, to restore commerce and safeguard livelihoods. Major strides in digital transformation improved the ease of doing business. The Companies of Jamaica and the Companies Office digitized annual returns and beneficial ownership filings, cutting processing times from weeks to minutes. The Jamaica Intellectual Property Office launched Jamaica's first fully digital IP registration platform. Legislative